It is so easy for us today when we see a picture of a steamboat on the Muskingum River to forget not long ago the river was not an easy place to take a boat. There were many fords and rapids on the river. Native Indians and trappers did use canoes on the Muskingum River, and we also know that founder John McIntyre used a flatboat to float down the Ohio River from Wheeling to Muskingum River with all of his household goods to settle in Zanesville. So in 1803, when Ohio becomes the 17th state in the Union, settlers started to come into the Muskingum River Valley, slow at first, and by 1810, the town starts to grow. It was very hard to get merchandise and goods from the East Coast because of the Appalachian Mountains. Truth of the matter is, if you didn't grow it or make it, you went without. After the War of 1812 in Zanesville, the state awarded John McIntyre approval to build his dam on the Muskingum. This was great news because this would allow water power to work sawmills and grist mills. Back then, baking flour cost $8 a barrel, and around the same time, men in upstate New York are talking about digging a canal from the east coast of New York to Buffalo, New York, a distance of 361 miles, and by 1817, they start the hard project. Akron, Ohio has the highest elevation in the state of Ohio at 1,007 feet, and they headed to Cleveland, Ohio. Statesmen from Ohio started checking out the possibility of what a canal would do for Ohio, so they checked all the major rivers, the Muskingum, the Scioto, and the Miami rivers. Then they came up with the Canal Bill. So in 1817, the Canal Bill was put in front of the representatives of the state of Ohio. By 1825, the bill was passed. In Zanesville, Muskingum County, folks have been planning to do what was called a illumination parade, where the folks would have candles in all the storefronts. The glowing of the warmth of the candles represented the prosperity that was coming our way in Zanesville. So on February 4th of 1825, which was a snowy evening, men and women celebrated the illumination parade. Musicians played music down the snowy streets, singing and celebrating. The folks of Zanesville had a great time celebrating the passing of the Canal Bill. The route of the canal would be from Cleveland, Ohio, headed down the Tuscarawas River, down to Coshocton, headed on its way to Dresden, Ohio, to meet up with the Muskingum River, a distance of 149 miles from Cleveland to Dresden. After the route of the canal was laid out, the land was cleared and trees cut and burnt. Then the digging crew would start their digging. These men were mostly Irish and German immigrants who used shovels and wheelbarrows to remove the earth. Other men would be working on the canal locks. A canal lock had to be 90 foot long by 40 foot wide and 10 foot deep, and usually there were 3 of them in one location to do the drop down. When the canal lock was dug to the depth needed, then a wooden floor had to be laid in the bottom of the canal lock. Stone cutters would be at stone quarries cutting sandstone that would be used for the walls of the canal. They also cut sandstone for the aqueduct bridges that allowed the canal boats to go over streams. The canal cost the state of Ohio $10,000 a mile to build. There were 44 canal locks built from Akron to Dresden, and there were 7 aqueduct bridges that were needed from Akron to Dresden. There were many types of cargo boats, depending on what type of cargo that you would like to ship. One style had a cabin in the front of the boat and a back cabin for the captain. In the center was the center deck, which they would transport all kinds of freight. These boats could haul equivalent of a semi-truck. They would haul cut stone, timber of all kinds, grain, you name it, they could haul it. Some boats had a lower deck so that they could haul coal from town to town. Other boats were known as packet boats. In a packet boat, they could haul 300 people on the top of the boat, where they would have seating, and be towed up and down the canal. Most cases, like a cargo boat, they were family operations. The father was the captain. The mother, she did all the cooking, and the children would do the physical labor. The little boys would walk the towpath and lead the horse or mule up and down the canal. Canal boats could only travel 4 to 6 miles an hour. When the canal boat got near to the canal lock, the captain would blow a bugle to let the lockmaster know that he was coming and to get ready to open up the gate. The first canal that we come to going west is Adams Mills, which had 3 step-down canal locks, Lock 20, 21, and 22. As we travel southwest about 3/4 of a mile, we come to a little community that became known as Trinway. As we go just a little west at Bottom Road, we come to the canal that heads south to Dresden, which was called the Dresden Side Cut. When we head 1.5 miles to the Waccatomoc Creek, we come to the aqueduct bridge that enters the canal boats into the town of Dresden. Then we will pass the cemetery to the 3 step-down canal, Lock 31, 32, and 33, that reaches the Muskingum River. Now when we go 3/4 of a mile west from the Dresden Side Cut, we get to Lock 18 and 19, which was known as Webb. Then if we go 4 miles to the west, we come to the little community of Frazeysburg. As we come away from Frazeysburg, we notice that there is a lot of little bridges crossing over the canal. Midway down, we come to another aqueduct before you know it, we get to the last little canal town, Nashport. This is the original Nashport, which was one of the last locations to either ship or unload cargo in Muskingum County. From Nashport, the canal boats would run along the Licking River to the town of Tobozo, then to Blackhand's Gorge locks. From Blackhand Gorge area, now the canal boats can head to either Newark, Buckeye Lake, and even Columbus. The Ohio Erie Canal went through 16 miles of Muskingum County, 70 years of service. It established many little towns while the canal was being built. Adams Mills, Trinway, Frazeysburg, Nashport, and most of all, Dresden, were all little canal towns. Sadly, by the 1890s, the canal was starting to slowly die due to the rapid transportation of the railroad.